Okay, welcome back. If you are new here, my name is Julie. I am recording this for my podcast, but I'm also putting it on YouTube so you can listen to wherever you listen to podcasts and also watch it on YouTube if you prefer that. And today we're talking about me turning my attitude around to solo parenting. Now, note that I'm not single parenting because I'm not a single parent, but my husband does travel a lot for work, and especially this month, the start of school and then sort of the new academic year, man, it has been rough and it is only going to get worse because he is gone for the whole week next week. Well, the work week. He's gone Monday to Friday. And then what makes it even more interesting is that I'm supposed to fly when he's landing. Yes. So if you don't know, I have 3 children and will be at school during that time. My youngest one is 3. And I am supposed to be going away for the weekend to visit my sister in Canada we planned this a while back when he's landing, basically. So he's going to fly back and I think we're going to be at the airport at the same time. So, everything needs to go kind of according to plan for there always to be one adult responsible for these children on the ground, at home. So anyway, we'll see how it goes. Another little twist to the tail is that Air Canada is on strike, or it's scheduling a strike, and I don't know if I'll be able to fly. So we'll see how it goes. But anyway, I wrote a whole long list of all the things that I am going to try and do to make my solo parenting experience more pleasant, because depending on how much I've been solo parenting or how tired I am or just where I am in my body and my life, I'm depending on that as how optimistic I am that this is going to be okay. And I've been lucky in that he usually goes away for maybe 3 days at a time or maybe 4 days at a time, like a Monday to a Thursday or a Tuesday to a Thursday. He hasn't gone away for a big chunk, like a Monday to Friday in a while. And then right after that, I'm leaving for the weekend. So I don't know. I just feel like I need to have things kind of ready for the weekend a little bit to make it easier for him. I'm going to be tired. I don't know how it's going to go, but I wrote a whole long list. So if you are going to be solo parenting, or actually these tips would work even if you're not solo parenting. Like, this is what I should do all the time, but this is especially what I should do when I'm on my own with my kids, just to make it more enjoyable and not have this like sense of dread that this is going to happen, because this is our life right now. He needs to travel for work, and I'm sure a lot of you guys have traveling spouses, and you probably, a lot of you have it way worse than me, like your partners are in the army or I don't know, gone on like long assignments, or maybe they travel more frequently. And I know I'm being a big baby over here. I know I'm complaining. It's hard not to complain when you compare yourself up, which is what you shouldn't do. In other words, what do I mean by that? Like, if I'm comparing myself to someone whose husband never travels, or who just is not renovating a house, or who has 1 child versus 3, or, you're comparing yourself to the better situation, like, that's never going to make you feel good. And so I need to turn it around. And like, when I'm feeling mentally strong and like good, I'm pretty positive. When I'm in kind of a slump, then things aren't going so well. So, when motivation fails you, discipline needs to take over. And this is going to be my form of discipline. So I have a whole bunch of things. It ended up being 13 things. Let's see how many we get through. But so basically, here are the things that I'm going to do. And this is what I think I should do in regular life, but especially when my husband is traveling. Number 1, setting alarms for myself. And my friend and I joke, because she also does this a little bit as well, but we always set alarms for waking up, and that is something I do definitely need to do, because I think having an alarm set will help me sleep better, knowing that at least there'll be an alarm to wake me up if I overslept, and usually I'm pretty tired, and I'll explain, but because I go to bed too late is really the short answer. But we never set alarms to go to bed, and I wish there was another word for alarm, a little trigger, a little nudge. Alarm sounds so jarring, but I set an alarm for 9 p.m. I set an alarm for 9:30. So 9 p.m. is like, start getting ready to bed. Get ready for bed. 9:30 is like, get in your bed and like wind down. We all need this wind down time. Like, we focus so much on our kids' routine and not on ours. And what we fail to realize is that when we are sinking, the ship is sinking. And I know my kids feel the stress. My older one will tell me things like, oh, I wish daddy wasn't away. And what he's trying to say is like, the house is just like more stressful when when there's only one parent, like holding the fort down. Anyway, so 9 o'clock, go to bed. 9:30, get into bed. 10 o'clock, switch off your light, like get into bed for real. And I maybe should set a 10:31 because I know how this goes. But even though that's going to be annoying to like switch off and just kind of be aware of, I know that I need that reminder. Even if I don't listen to it, it just like will interrupt whatever I'm doing and like make me think, make me more conscious of time. So then along with alarms, I'm going to set my alarm for around 6 a.m. every day so that I can have enough time to get ready myself to get them to school. And you have to factor in, flexibility time, especially with a 3-year-old that doesn't want to get dressed or doesn't want to eat any breakfast or doesn't want to get out of bed, or, she's such a wild card. I have no idea what obstacle I'm going to face that morning, what challenge, and it's absolutely exhausting on your own. So I need to have time to myself. I mean, if I set an alarm for 6 a.m., I'm probably going to be up before that because I'm like a little bit on edge, but at least then it's kind of a reminder. And then I think I'm going to set another alarm for 6:45 because I tend to like overdo the morning. I tend to want to do everything in my morning before I've taken them to school. And then we end up rushing and then I feel terrible, like I'm a terrible mom because then they're going to be not on time for school, but they're not late, but they're not really like on time. And I think they feel that stress too. But anyway, something else I'm going to do is I'm going to get a good book. I just got a new Kindle. Here it is. Let me show you. Super happy. Funny fact. I turned this thing on for the first time this morning. Whole thing was in Chinese. Not a language, a romantic language that I could probably figure out. Spanish, Portuguese, French, German even. I could probably do all of those. No, Chinese. And it took me a lot of Googling to figure out how to change the language to English. I thought maybe it'd been hacked or something because I don't know why it would default to Chinese, but fun fact. So I'm getting prepared. I'm going to download a good book. I think I'm going to pair it with an audiobook because I can't sit still and I'm not reading enough. But I also think it'll, if I have a good book, so if you have any good recommendations, not too scary, then leave them down in the comments so that I can have a reason to get into bed and look forward to it. I'm going to offload as much as I can for this weekend before he goes away so that I have less to do, right? Because we're into like survival mode, but we also want to feel good. We're not going to be thriving. That's unlikely to happen, but I just want to be prepared. So that's getting groceries on Sunday, doing some kind of basic meal prep. I have donations to take to Goodwill. Like, why not do it now? Like, what am I waiting for? Getting gas in my car, putting petrol in my car before my husband leaves. Like, all of these things that you can do ahead of time to prepare will make life a little bit more manageable. So that's what we're doing. And then along with food and meal prep is easy make ahead meals for kids. Like, I don't know, I was today years old when I realized I can prepare the food, not cook it, put it in the fridge and have it ready to cook at dinner time. Dinner time is my worst, honestly. We get home from school, they have a lot of activities after school. I'm driving around like a minibus taxi and the last thing I feel like doing is making dinner. And I feel like I'm terrible at it. And this is part of the reason. It's like my setup is not good. My system is not good. My mom always used to make dinner in the morning, and this is probably why. So I think what I'm going to do is prep easy fan favorite meals. So we could do pizza one night, but like homemade pizza. So we're not ordering pizza. We're either making our own crust or we're getting, pre-made pizza dough like the one from Trader Joe's, something simple. We're building our own pizza. I can even roll it out, have it ready to go, put it in the fridge, and then just bake it right before dinner. Like healthy chicken tenders, make my own chicken tenders. It's really not that hard. Spaghetti bolognese, always a crowd favorite. Probably can make that meal stretch for 2 nights. And just having a loose idea of what we're going to eat when is really, really important. Now, on that note, I tend to not eat dinner when I'm alone with my kids. Like I am trying to get everybody ready and I almost forget to not eat. That is a big problem because then when it comes to me going to bed or around 9 o'clock, I'm hungry and I know that I'm not going to be able to sleep well if I don't eat anything. So being this weird unconscious martyr of not eating any food when my kids are eating, that's not going to work for me anymore. So I need to make sure I have a real meal. It doesn't have to be excessive or fancy, but it needs to have probably eat kind of some version of what they're eating. Maybe I add a few more fancy vegetables or salad. Maybe they're not going to eat that. I don't know. I'm also trying to really eat a lot more fruit. Like I really like I don't know if anyone else likes this, but I really like melon, like cantaloupe. It's not too sweet, so it's not like super sugary if people are concerned about that, but it's full of fiber. I mean, it's basically just water. It's basically like a sweet cucumber, but I don't really love cucumbers. Anyway, so I'm going to try, I've done this recently where I've like bought melons from the grocery store, watermelon, cantaloupe, whatever it is, I don't know, and then just chopping it up and keeping it in the fridge to snack on and have at dinner, and like the fiber and just sort of the bulk of it will make you feel full. Add that to my meal, something like that. I think I'm always running on this like low level adrenaline when I'm on my own, and which is silly. It's silly. But anyway, that's besides the point. And so I don't always feel like eating when they eat, or I'm just trying to like get the little one to bed, and like right after dinner, then she's often sometimes says to me, I want to go to bed, and I'm listening to you, girl. I'm not like waiting around for this. So then I don't get a chance to eat, or I'm like clearing up, and it's not good. I really do need to prioritize eating a proper meal myself, because the kids will get fed. I mean, they're not gonna let me put them to bed without food, right? But I tend to not eat. And then what also will happen is I'll have like some kind of sugary snack, like granola, or I mean, yogurt and blueberries or something. That's not terrible, but or chocolate, like, and I would eat more chocolate than I would normally because I'm hungry and I'm eating it as a meal. Terrible idea. Caffeine and sugar and me late at night, disaster. Cannot do it if I actually want to go to sleep. And I have to sleep in order to do this. Like, I've realized it's just, I have to be fighting fit for these kids. All right, saying no to unnecessary events. So we have a whole bunch of back to school nights coming up because it's that time of year and I can't go to any of them. And I've decided not to feel guilty about it. I've been to many a back to school night in my life, and it's okay. I'm not going to go. I have a very dear friend that offered to come and, look after the kids, but I would have been carting everybody around. My son finishes his sports stuff right before I need to leave. It's just, she has to drive to see me. It's not like it's the neighbor, or I don't know. I just feel like it's not worth it. The juice is not worth the squeeze in this case. Like, it's not a parent teacher conference that I'm missing. It's a back to school night. There will be more. I thought maybe it'd be good for me to go meet some parents and stuff. And yes, it would be, but I cannot do everything. And I think it'll cause me more stress to try and figure out how to go to this thing for like an hour in traffic, driving there, the whole thing, than actually just staying at home. So that's what we're doing. We're staying at home. I'm saying no to unnecessary things. On the flip side of that, I'm going to say yes to seeing a friend at least once next week, because something that I really struggle with when my husband is away is that like lack of adult company and having someone to help me, not to help me even. Yes, it is physically tiring and it's really great when he's home and he can like pick them up from school sometimes, or like just we can share the driving or whatever, the after school stuff, also because they go to two different schools. Like, yes, it is great. But more than that, it's the loneliness. And it's ironic because I'm surrounded by 3 little people who never leave me alone, and a dog, but I'm still lonely, like for adult company. And so I'm going to try and see my friend at least once during the week, after school drop off or something, and just like feel like I'm having adult company, that's outside of my children. So I'm going to try to do that, but I'm not going to say yes to unnecessary things. All right. I'm also somebody, let me know if you're like this, who tends to make life more difficult, as my husband likes to remind me. So I'm going to make my life a bit easier. As silly as this is, I'm going to use the dishwasher more instead of washing plates. I also learned that apparently you use up a lot of water when you hand wash things, so you might as well use the dishwasher. And it's gonna wash them better. The dryer, often we just hang dry our clothes, which is better for them. But during a week of solo parenting, maybe we use the dryer. I'm gonna try and change all of the sheets and the linen and all the kind of stuff before he goes away. Just little things that my future self will like me for, and also having things that will help me maintain my sanity. Something else that I'm going to do is some kind of movement every day, even if it is walking around my neighborhood for 15 minutes. I'm going to tell myself I'm going to go for a 10-minute walk. I'm going to try and listen to a podcast that I'm into, or a book or something, and I'm sure it's going to be longer than 15 minutes if I do a little loop. Gotta get home if I've left. I need to be walking and exercising. I also find that helps me sleep when I work out consistently. I can't work out I can't go too crazy because I need to work back up to lifting weights again because I injured my elbow, long story. And so I just need to be getting outside. I just think the weather is so beautiful here right now. It sets up my day for feeling a bit more energetic, even if I've had a bad night the night before or something. So getting outside or just working out, moving my body in some shape or form is what I need to do. Now, I've also made myself a bedtime set of rules. And you might think it's crazy that I am being so strict about bedtime, but for myself, but I am strict about it for my children, and I need it. I need this strictness. So as I spoke about, no sugary snacks and caffeinated things, aka chocolate, like after sort of 7 p.m. It also depends how much I eat. Like I would never want to restrict myself, but I should not be eating bars of chocolate, on an empty stomach. It's just an absolute disaster if I want to sleep. And caffeine takes a long time to work its way out of your body, even if it's sort of lower doses of it. And I honestly don't know how much caffeine chocolate has in it. I'm sure it's less than coffee, but it's not great if you're sensitive to caffeine. I drink a lot of caffeinated tea, and so I'm going to cut myself off, I think, ideally at 4 p.m., maybe 5 p.m. at the latest. And then I'm going to drink mint tea to help me get into like the ritual. But you also don't want to drink like huge amounts of liquid right before you go to bed, because then you need to pee all the time and then you wake up. So we want to do that. And then I also want to try and incorporate having a bath before bed, because that is supposed to help you sleep, like something to calm you down. Maybe with some bath salts or like magnesium, that's also supposed to help you. I take magnesium, like a tablet, but I think having a bath of magnesium, Epsom salts, is a good idea. I'm also not going to restrict myself on my phone, but I'm hoping that if I have a really good book, I'm going to rather want to read a book than be on my phone. But I think if I get into bed earlier, like at 9:30, if I want to unwind and watch YouTube videos or do something that like relaxes me and something that's really just for me, like an indulgence, I'm going to let myself do that. I'm not going to say, no, you can't do that, because every time I've done that in the past, it's always a total disaster. Like I am the type of person that if you tell me no, I'm going to like hyper fixate on it. So I don't want to do that. I don't want it to make it unrestricted, but I also need to have some kind of boundary. So like, I just need to stop scrolling after like 10. I should do it before that, but let's just keep it baby steps, okay? And then I'm gonna write all these rules down and I'm gonna tape them up somewhere where I can see them. And I as corny as that sounds, I don't care. I honestly don't care. No one's gonna know, except you beautiful people of the internet. But honestly, it's fine. I feel like this is what I need to do. I need to have these rules visible, like go to bed, 9:30, 10, mint tea, have a bath, things like that, to just remind me to do them, because it gets so chaotic and I just put everybody else's needs kind of ahead of me, including my house. I put my house's needs ahead of me. I'm obsessed with like keeping it clean and tidy, which is nice and good for my mental health, but not at the cost of resting and sleeping. I need to be balanced in both, and I'm absolutely not. And then I need to change my attitude about this and just have a more positive attitude. It's going to be okay. Like, this is not the end of the world. We are learning valuable lessons. It does provide my children with an opportunity to step up and help, which I think is good for them. It's good life lessons. They don't want to do it. I don't want to do it either, but here we are. This is the situation that we're in. It's not terrible. We're very lucky in so many ways. I'm very grateful that my husband has a job and that he's working and doing things and busy and like enjoys what he does and providing for our family and building, for the future. And this is kind of what we have to do. So it is what it is. We're not focusing on the negatives around this. And, the last step is just to try it out and see how it goes. And maybe I'll report back if you guys are interested. So that is my ramble for today. I hope you got something valuable out of this. As I said, you do not need to be solo parenting in order to try these tips out. And maybe after this week, I'll never want to go back. I'll know, especially when I draw up my list of rules, maybe I'll just never want to go back and I'll stick to this routine. So yeah, I hope you guys are doing great. Don't forget to subscribe if you're on YouTube, or click the follow button if you're listening on Spotify. And I will see you in my next video. Leave some ideas for me of what you'd like me to cover. I'm happy to try out some new topics, and I will see you soon. Bye.